experience. This program have a short name that we are calling this program Parenting on the Move. And it's a program for empowerment and supporting development of competencies of parents of children till 12 years of age in situation or related to migrations and refugeehood. I hope you will have understanding for all of us that we are speaking in Serbia, in English, and we are native Serbian speakers. So hope you can follow our language. In the beginning, I would like to say just a few words about our organization. We are a non-governmental organization established and based in Belgrade 22 years ago. Our mission is to improve the conditions for living of children and youth in Serbia by empowering them, children and youth and adults, raising the professional capacities of those who work with children and families, by advocating democratic values in society and bringing together networking individuals and organizations to act together in favor of well-being of children and youth. We have three main areas of influence. One is improving the quality, accessibility, and justice of pre-university education, preschool, primary, and secondary education, supporting families through developing different programs and materials, and empowering individuals and institutions and organizations by different kind of trainings and projects and activities. Our program is based on our experience in work with the families, especially those from vulnerable groups. We have a lot of years of experience working with families from Roma origin who lives in Roma on Roma settlements, and experience with families placed on collective centers after the flood in Serbia, and some other experience with different kind of type of families. And its idea is to develop the program who is part of the systematic approach and support to families in needs, families in migration, migrant and refugee families. So we didn't cover topics like living conditions, health and safety nets, child rights and human rights, and including enrollment in school and those kind of, because we think that's only one part of services that needed to be provided to families on the move. So the aim is to support families with children up to 12, and we combine psychological support, education, and some activities who entertain families in order to support cohesion within the families and within different families from different cultural backgrounds. We are trying to support families to find the strength to face with their challenges in constructive way. We have some principles that are usually integrated in programs like this, starting from the child rights and human rights, acting in the best interests of children and adults, participation of children and parents, inclusive and non-discriminatory approach, voluntary participation, building activities on previous experience and knowledge and strengths of beneficiaries, of participants, respect of individual, family, cultural, religious, and other differences of participants, and respect of their personal boundaries. That's very important because they are working with families with in very sensitive living conditions. Our program responds on needs of families we are focused on supporting them to use their strengths they already have, the knowledge, experience, and strength, individual and families. Trying to develop, to support development of their parental competencies, how to respond on the needs of their children, supporting them how to connect, how to use their time and to on a constructive way, try to organize their living in those situations, and to encourage them to better understand differences and similarity between different cultures and other families and parents who came from different backgrounds, and to develop respect of diversity and to value intercultural exchange, which was the very important part. We will say something more later. In collaboration with Save the Children, we developed the whole cycle of developing, implementation, and improvement of program. So we start with the needs assessment. We have focus groups with migrant parents, teachers who work with their children in primary schools, and NGO activists with the experience in work with migrant families. We developed the program, piloted several workshops in collective centers. Then we have some fine-tuning of the program. After that, we implement program into collective centers in Serbia with 27 families. During the implementation, the external evaluation was organized with some experts. And after this evaluation, we defined the final version of the program and some improvement, especially because we plan to develop a program for families with children of primary school age, but we had families with preschool children. So we have some adjustment of the program to be used with families with children of different age. Możesz? So there are three components of the program. One is workshops for parents. We have 15 workshops and one introductory and closing workshop. We have family workshops for families from all members of families included in the program. And we support activities at home, I mean in family settings, by developing some materials for families so they can use when they are in their family setting. Možeš sljedeće. What are modules? We have 4 modules for parents. First module is about daily routines, protecting children's health and safety. We have 3 workshops about this within this module. We have psychosocial support to parents and children. This is the biggest module. We have 6 workshops because we think it's very important for families in this situation. Third module is about implementation of positive discipline and positive parenting without punishment. And fourth is about the schooling of children. And we have family workshops. We have 9 family workshops for all members of families, including in the program. Možeš. We developed the handbook for moderators who implement the program. There are scenarios for each workshops I mentioned, scenarios for parents workshops and family workshops. We have articles, text for readings for moderators, and we have recommendations for program implementation with a lot of recommendations regarding organizational issues. And we have documentation templates they can use for documenting their work. And we have also some recommendations about the quality assurance, about the mentoring, about the self-evaluation during the program implementation. Može sljedeće. There are articles, they are connecting, I mentioned the readings articles, they're connected with the topics we have in our models, daily routines, personal and family strengths, positive discipline, lifelong learning. And we have one text that is focused on moderators. It's about prevention of burnout. One text is about interculturality and communication skills. We thought that those texts are very important for moderators, and they can provide them with more theoretical and more inputs how to organize the work with families. Okay.
So now, thank you. Now I will continue. My name is Christina, and first of all, I'm sorry about these mistakes with slides. This is not my first time to share slides, but I have some problem with my keyboard, so I don't know what is happening. That's why we go back and we go forward. I hope that I will find a way to fix it. So as Milena mentioned, we have workshops for families and workshops for parents. And in this handbook that Milena described, we have workshop scenarios for each of them. And all of the workshops have the same structure. And here on the slide, you can see the main parts of each workshop. We have the introduction, when moderator is announcing the topic and the goals of the workshop. Then the central part that consists of one or more activities that is facilitated by the moderator. And these activities are different, but we tried to include some individual or some group activities, maybe to enable some discussion and to use like different type of activities as drawing and writing and so on. After that, we gave some closing messages where moderator is trying to sum up all the activities they've been through, all the content and all the discussions, and give one or several messages to the parents and try to encourage them to continue to think about them and to try to implement, gain the knowledge and skills with their family members. After that is game for relaxation, where we again have several suggestions for some simple and fun relaxing activities. And these type of activities later parents can try with their other family members. And at the end, as each workshop has the closing part, we have the evaluation of the workshop. And Milena mentioned that we, in the handbook for moderators, we gave some suggestion for the documentation, and one form is a form for evaluation. And after that, moderator closed the workshop. He make or she an agreement with all parents about the next workshop, when will it happen, and then he greet and thank to all parents for their participation. Besides this, each workshop has, each scenario has two very important elements. One is the goal or objective of the workshop, which helps moderator to understand what we want to accomplish with parents and with all of the activities. And at the end, there is some risk points where are some things that we recognize that could be potentially challenging, and some ideas how to prevent them to help moderators to better prepare for the workshop. And now we will go to a workshop for parents first. As Milana mentioned, we have 4 modules. And again, here are the names: daily routines, protecting children's health and safety, psychosocial support to parents and children, positive discipline, and educational lifelong learning. And our recommendation is to implement this workshop in this order, because it's logical continuation of the activities and themes. And because we don't have a lot of time for this part, we will just shortly introduce the names of the workshops and shortly talk about what we want to achieve with them. And later, if there are questions, we can talk about them again. As I said, we have 3 workshops for this module. The names are Family Hour, setting up daily routines, family strengths, healthcare and safety of children, and providing first aid to the child in case of symptoms of illness or injury. And what do we want to achieve with these 3 workshops? We want to, with all the theoretical input and with all activities, we want to share the message with parents that when they travel with children, they of course face many challenges, but during that time, children grows and develops, they master new skills and learn. And in that time, children needs health supervision, conditions for personal hygiene, for regular sleep, play, available parents, and daily rhythm. And during these activities, we give some ideas how to achieve all of this. But also we want to empower parents not to allow safety, protection, warmth that family provides to children to be disturbed in the conditions of constant uncertainty and frequent changes of place of residence. And also, we are trying to help parents to focus how to maintain and establish family routines in order for children to develop the habits that are necessary to maintain their health and safety. And I'm not sure if you can see, but here at the bottom right corner, there is our program logo, and you can see that we have a picture of a clock, which is representing the daily rhythm of life. Second module is called psychosocial support for parents and children. And Milana mentioned that we think that this part of the program is very important, and that's why it has 6 workshops. The workshops are My Strengths, Family Strengths, the Field of Personal Impact, Psychosocial Well-being and Resilience of the Child, Managing Personal Stress, and Helping a Child cope with stress. And by the names of the workshop, you can see that first we want to empower parents and then support them to empower their children. And with these activities and theoretical inputs, we want to carry following messages: that everyone experiences stress, and some of us copes better, some less, and that we should look into the causes and how to, in our reactions, and how to cope with that in a way to avoid risk from being overwhelmed by it. And we also want to share a message that parents have a responsibility not just for themselves, but also to their children. That families should show love and support, accept children, to encourage them to develop positive self-image, self-confidence, and self-esteem. But also, one very important message is that having faith in ourselves and recognizing our strengths and what we can do is very important, not only for personal well-being and resilience, but also can have a big impact on our children. Children learn from what they see, not what they are told to do.
Hello, I am Naskarep, The module includes 3 workshops with the aim that parents understand the concept of positive discipline and developed motivation to act in accordance with this concept. First workshop, child needs both warmth and structure. The other, educating the child today, thinking of tomorrow. And 3, punishment-free upbringing. Možeš? Contents of the workshop include theoretical inputs and activities that carry the message that providing warm, love, support, and initiative has a positive effect on development of each child, potential in accordance with the needs and abilities. It is important to establish a balance between warm and control, love, and clear rules. All challenges during growth, development, and upbringing of child should be opportunity for the child to build that contribute its successful functioning today in the existing environment and in the future. Respect for culture, tradition, and family values does not prevent consideration of options and methods of upbringing without punishment under the guidance of caring parents full of attention and love who set clear and reasonable borders. Sandra.
Okay. Hello. My name is Alexandra, and I will present Module 4. Module 4 is dedicated to education and lifelong learning. It is composed of 3 workshops. One is about the topic that everyone learns in their own way. The second one is about competencies for lifelong learning, because we think that for parents it's very important to inform about the importance of competencies for lifelong learning. And third one is about how to help children to integrate in educational system in country which they are currently located. Next one. And now I have one task for you. Before we start a little bit deeper in content of the workshops, I would like to ask you to learn this sentence in Serbian language in next 30 seconds. I will leave 30 seconds, and I would like to hear of you which strategy did you use to learn this sentence. I can even read it. Učenje može biti zabavno ako je dobro osmišljeno. Okay. Does anyone want to share with us how you learned it? How you learned? Which strategy you've been using to learn this sentence in Serbian language? You can write in chat, or if someone want to unmute and tell us how you learned this sentence. Don't be shy, please. I don't see, and I tried to learn it. A rhythm as a song, okay. By singing, okay. I try to say it's like 30 x, okay. I try to say it like 30 times, okay. This is in Spanish, and I can just try to read.
No, Alexandra, now you should learn it.
I should learn it. Leerlo de forma repetida o con entonación. fit it in my body. Okay, thank you so much. This was few reason why we give you this task. I try to say it a lot of times in my mind, write it down. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Actually, we do very similar activities with parents. Can you next, Christina? Because we want to rely our program on parents' experience. We want that they understand and everything. Okay, because we want that they understand that as adults, children also learn in different ways. As you mentioned, someone learned by heart, someone tried to say many times, maybe someone asked to translator to translate in their native language, maybe someone just put it in Google Translator and tried to learn in that way. So each of us try to learn in different ways as kids. Some of kids learn best by listening to others, some need to see pictures or read text, other learns by watching the other to do work, while some learn best through physical activities, trying things out and handling objects. The way how adults provide support and the example they give set actually the tone of the child's attitude to learning and their achievements. And we want that sharing with parents, that they understand that they should support children in their own way of learning. Also, we want to share with parents that education is very important for personal development, for inclusion into the society and work employment. We want to inform them about competencies for lifelong learning, that actually that competencies refer to skills and attitude that each child should gain through their education, and the children should be encouraged to learn their native language, foreign languages, math, different sciences and technology, especially digital technologies. Also, they should learn how to establish connection with others, not just academic skills, but other social emotional skills about interest in culture and artistic expression. And also, one of the message which we want to share and to the parent is that parents should know about the educational system of the country where are in. That is important to be that they have all information about system and what type of support they can get and from whom, from school, from society, local society, from NGOs or other. Also to inform that they should know how to enroll their children in educational system, what is their roles and obligation as a parents, and also who can help them with transportation, with textbooks and supplies and other things which are important for kids and their preschool or involvement in primary or secondary schools. So that's it about education.
Thank you, Alexandra. After we presented the workshop for parents, we should very briefly again show about family workshops, and they're the second part of our program. With these kinds of activities, we want to encourage parents and other adult family members to spend time with their children. And these workshops are recreational, they're creative, they're entertaining, but also they're focused on learning and intercultural exchange. And we have 9 workshops in total, and the idea for these workshops are to be implemented at the same time as family workshops, not later or like not to have first 15 workshops with parents and then, but at the same time. The workshops are the meaning of a name, the story of our family, motifs from our homeland, celebrations and holidays, socializing with music and dance, our journey, our quiz, logical and mathematical games, and children filmmakers. And by the names of the workshops and by the objectives, maybe you can assume what kind of activities there are. And what do we want to achieve with these workshops? We want to encourage families to spend more time together and to help them understand that this time is very important, that because it provides opportunities to get to know each other better, to play together, to learn, to share interests, to have fun, and to strengthen family relationships. But also by participating in this kind of activities, we want to show parents that for family activities, they don't need special equipment or certain facilities, and that they should focus on what is available according to resources, to be creative and to just plan time for joint activities. And also these activities are not only to help a family to strengthen their own relationship, but also is an opportunity to include other families, to get to know them, to exchange experience, to get to know different culture and to talk about their own, to make friends and celebrate the diversity while they're living in a center or in some similar facility.
Okay, in our program, we also developed two resources for family, and now we will try to, we will go through them briefly. We have developed two resources, one named Notebook, Notes to Go, and one are cards. And now Christina will open it in PDF, so we can go just quickly through them.
Yes, just 1 second, please.
Okay, first one is Notes to Go. Yes, the purpose of the notebook is to be a reminder of the joint activities and also on the contents we have been dealing with. And you can see in this, you can go on. You can see that the notebook contains short text related to the topics which we cover during the workshops, but also the space for personal notes which can parents put during the workshops. So we here have 4 main topics as 4 modules which we cover during the workshops with parents. So that is the notebook. And the next one is about cards. We developed materials. We call them cards or games and activities to go.
I'm sorry, I have some problem.
Okay, they are very small and parents can take them with them, can take the cards with them. And this material is composed by 31 cards. Each card has several ideas or proposals for games or other activities for example, one day. So they can use, you can see they can have a board game day, they can poetry day, music, song, and dance day. And on the right side, they have ideas what they can do with kids during this day. For example, which is next, learn about nature day. The next one is art day. That means that the parents and kids should talk about art, about favorite artists and pieces, and to try to find them, for example, in some books or in internet. So that day is dedicated to art. So that means that each card give activities for one day which parents can spend together with kids. all activities there are actually 31. That means a whole month is covered by ideas for spending time with kids, dealing with some games or other activities. Okay, that's it. We can go further. I hope you will find very useful, and we can, after presentation, if you have some question, we can answer.
Yeah, I will just also wanted to add, I'm sorry, I'm not sure what is with the sound. On each card, we offer several ideas for activities or type of activities that you can do again, but in a slightly different way. So when family uses all 31 cards in one go, they can go back and use them again. That is the idea. And now I will share the presentation again, just 1 sec.
Okay. Now I will say a few words about the implementation of the program. We are not focusing on organizational issues. We don't have time, and it depends on the situation. But just to say that we recommend the program to be implemented during the 4 months. It's approximately 1 workshop for parents per week, and family workshops can be organized 2 per week or something, 1 or 2, depends on the needs and timeline they moderators develop together with families. Moderators or facilitators can be experts, students, activists. It's very important for them to be sensitive to the needs of families on the move, to have experience with families on the move or other vulnerable groups. If they have training for providing psychosocial support to vulnerable groups, it's added value because it's very important. And if they have training and experience in work with children and families, and good communication skills. We develop training of moderators, 2 trainings, and we will focus on moderators we were working with, and they are well experienced activists and professionals from 2 NGOs who already have experience in working with families on the move. But if you have situation that have a less experienced moderators, some additional things should be added. So it needs to be tailor-made to the needs of and experience and knowledge of moderators. So quality assurance is very important in program like this, and we developed 2 trainings. First, initial training is focused on program structure and principles, on implementation, facilitation skills, communication skills, and other important issues. Then we provide mentoring. In our case, it was on the field, but it can be organized on distance using internet. And we organize also supervision in a different way. Then during the implementation, we had a follow-up 2 days training, and then continue with the mentoring and supervision. So we have regular contact with the moderators and trying to be involved in everything that happened on the field, because you know that it can be changed in 1 day. Families are coming, they are leaving, or there are some issues in collective centers. So there are a lot of things that we need to be aware about to support implementation. Možeš sledeće. We developed handbook for trainers and mentors. The 2 training models are presenting in this handbook, and our recommendations based on our experience with implementation. And we try to integrate recommendations that are answering on the challenges we were faced with. I mean, moderators were faced with. First one is about the language issue, because there are families from different language background, and you cannot, it's not possible to provide translation for each language. So they were working partly on English, they were working partly on some other languages, and parents were translating to each other. So there are a lot of very interesting processes that were going through during the sessions. And the challenge was to how to harmonize our program sessions with other activities in collective centers. They had a lot of different activities for children and for adults, and how to provide a place and some other organizational issues. But the challenge that we faced with was that parents were not so happy to be together with some other families because of the background of the origin, because they are not feeling good to be together. So that was, I think, the main challenge. In our case, in collective centers, they're cultural moderators, so they help with during the sessions program. They help with the translation, but also they help with facilitating the process, how to have different families from different backgrounds, and how to socialize together. Participation of many mothers on the program for parents were not the issue, but family activities were an issue, and we didn't expect that because they're more about relaxation and fun and being together and sharing. But the intercultural issue came as one of the challenge that need to be answered. Okay, so we had external evaluation. I mentioned at the beginning, 40 mothers were involved in 2 focus groups, and there are some say from them. I learned that I would not beat my son, and that I would not educate him to the old way, as everyone did. I used to think that if a kid goes wrong, you have to beat him to keep him from repeating. Now I have learned that it's not so. This was a really big challenge to work with parents, when many of them are thinking that punishment is the regular way of bringing our children. So it was really, I mean, that's the situation in Serbia also, but it was also very, very big challenge. But on the end, we were happy with the changes, because the evaluation showed that the parents who participated changed the way how they see, because they didn't know, they just used the way how they learn from their home and their family. Other mothers say we learn how to love our families, what to do when a kid has a problem, how to get kids into school, how to be flexible and live better at camp with other cultures. We have a lot of free time. It is important for us to be together, to talk, to become friends. So we were supporting this process of sharing and some spending time together, because they were all close in their living spaces. We have learned to look at things from a different angle. It is difficult to us not to crochet and to solve the problem ourselves. And it was very useful. We are in a camp like a prison. Help us to live more easily here. We talk about the problems we have. So there are some, I say we think it's interesting. And is there so we have plans for further program development. Now we are discussing with the colleagues from Save the Children. We would like to develop workshops for parents with children of preschool age because we are focused on primary age children. We plan to develop audio and video material for parents that can be used during the sessions, but also they can be sent to them on free time or when they are on the move. And we are planning to develop remote training models, mentoring models, because it's a need of the time to move on distance work sometimes. So I think that's it. We try to be short as we can. So it's time for you to ask, and we can try to answer on your questions. So how can we?
We don't have any questions in chat, so
Parece que en este momento no tenemos ninguna.
So you can anyone who wants to ask the question.
Ako želite postaviti pitanje, možete kliknuti i podići ruku.
Then hopefully it will work in terms of interpretation, but just be patient. And yes, or you can alternatively, we can wait for the questions in the chat box if that is easier for you. So we have a first question. Sarah is wondering if you thought about if parts could be used if families are in transit for a shorter period of time, which is definitely something that we see quite often, that we cannot conduct the full program as children or their families, they move.
Sorry, me again. I was just wondering, did you think about which sessions would be most useful if, say, you only meet the parents for a week, for example, and you can only do, say, 2 or 3 sessions? Like, did you have a discussion on like which would be the most important ones to have in a short intervention?
We always recommend to discuss with families and together to make choices, because they know what they need. If they are short time, they don't need to discuss about the schooling in this country. But we think that we made the models that each workshop is a continuation of previous one. So it's not easy to just pick one and implement, but it's also possible. So maybe just to share with parents the list of topics and goals of each, and then discuss with them what are their needs. But we love each topic. We cannot recommend that one is more important than other, because we want to support them to think about learning on the move. You can learn on different ways everywhere. It's not about schooling, it's about lifelong learning. We want to empower them about the parenting skills and other things. So.
Yeah, but when we develop the audio and video material, then it might be easier to think about this.
Thank you. There was a question. Sorry.
Because they can receive video and audio material even when they leave the country.
There was a question on the possible dates for preschool materials. Well, I mean, it's we don't have a date because it's still an idea for future development. But we will see. I mean, it depends on the funding and other issues, but hopefully soon. We have okay, so we have 2 more questions at the moment. The first one is from Elodie. The question is, could you say again in more detail what the biggest challenges during the parent workshops were? And after that, we have a question from Ubina, which is, do you have any advice on how to motivate families to participate in workshops?
Coach. Okay, I'm director. I need to to take a form that nobody wants. I mentioned by the mistake we missed the PowerPoint about challenges and lessons learned. So sorry about for this. The challenge was because of the languages. Families are speaking different languages, and we couldn't provide translation for each one. So they were mainly provided, moderators mainly provided on English. Cultural moderators tried to help with some other languages, and sometimes parents translate to each other. Organizational issues connected with the collaboration with the center and harmonization of activities they have. They have a lot of, in one period they have a lot of activities. In some areas they don't have activities. And one NGO is coming and providing these kind of sessions, the kind of programs, sport, art or something. So it's not always easy to harmonize time. And I mentioned the biggest one is about willingness of families to socialize together. So they participate on the sessions for parents, but they didn't want to socialize together on family workshops. And it was, I mean, it's not unexpected, but it was in some way. We thought that this is for them to relax, to more, to learn more from each other, and maybe they have too much focus on sharing. So maybe it's for them. Then when we see that there is an issue, we recommend to moderators to start with family workshops who are not targeting intercultural issues. So they're just focused on some activities that can be relaxing for them. But it's political issue because they are coming from countries who are in some complicated relationships. I don't know, is there any other issues that we have like challenges?
Motivacija, da li mogu ja da se priključim? Ne znam da li sam na dobrom kanalu ili govorim samo srpski.
Kliknite na
srpski.
Da.
Okay. Znači ja sam Snežana Malešev.
I am Snežana Malešev. I'm a nurse specialized in programs and direct work with migrant families. The motivation and how to motivate families, the parents, is recognizing and showing what are their challenges, their problems in care and working, upbringing of children. This is a way to get them interested to take part and participate and to remain with us. Certainly, there is a great role of the cultural mediators in this, who support and assist that this approach to the families be acceptable because different relationships in different cultures are not the same and they are manifested in a different way. I learned this through experience. And this experience helped me very much in program implementations. The key is that when we are talking with families, they are aware that they will get the answer through the programs. And that's what we also received as their feedback, the first workshops that were part of that were focused on healthcare. They who are transiting very fast, they suggested that they would connect with us in a way in order to get these workshop materials for care and protection of children.
Thank you. We have one more question in the chat box, but before that, we have a hand from Mariela. So Mariela, if you can unmute yourself and ask us the question.
Thank you so much. I appreciate a lot what you say in this webinar, and my first question, because I have two.
Yes.
I am a little confused because I am hearing the translate in Spanish.
You need to click, if you're speaking in English, you need to click. You need to click on to change the language.
My first question is about how to involve the parents in these workshops, because in Mexico we have this problem about in the workshops. We are having more problems with men than women, but in all the shelters that we are working, we have this specific problem that the parents don't want to involve in the workshop with their children.
I will try to answer, but I'm not sure if I understood. Parents does not want to be in activities with their children. Yes, well, I'm not sure. Our experience when program was implemented in centers, in camps here in Serbia.
The parents.
But do you know why? Do they say? Because here when the program was implemented, we didn't have that kind of challenge. What was a slight challenge here is that we didn't have participation of the fathers as expected, but that was it wasn't only because fathers didn't want, but also because mothers wanted sometimes for themselves. And they were saying, no, we only want mothers to be here. And sometimes we blame fathers that they're not interested and they don't want to participate, but also they share the responsibility. And from our experience, parents enjoyed the time they spent with their children, because that was a chance to enjoy some creative and fun activities and to get to know each other better, and to stop thinking about other things for an hour or something like that. So I'm sorry I didn't answer your question, but
this is one of those situations where maybe we'll experience differences, even though the context might be similar at the first look. This is something which is interesting, that we will see how it's also quite different sometimes. So I think, Mariela, you had one more question. if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, my second question is about how to monitoring the workshops if people is living so frequently in the spaces. No? In Mexico, people maybe stay in one shelter for 1 month, or another people they stay in the shelter for 1 week. We have this problem. We want to know about another strategies for monitoring, or for know if they are
I think the question is concerning the maintaining the program with it's similar to the question that we got in the chat box from Jessica on how to monitor and evaluate the program and how to conduct it properly with such great mobility, and the fact that we rarely see children finishing the program from start to finish. So I don't know, Mariela, if this was also where your question was, whether this was also your question in terms of when you said that children often leave. Were you also referring to this issue of how to maintain integrity of the program if we have such great turnover?
We can do what we can do in this concrete situation. So some parents will be for the whole program and some for one part. But we think that if even they participated in one session, there is something for them. Maybe they spend 2 hours sharing with other parents and learning something. So we are offering them what we are offering. So it depends on the situation and circumstances how they will participate. Because of this, we were aware from the beginning that many parents will not complete the program, because they are leaving, some are leaving and coming back, and there are a lot of processes different are going on. And that's why we developed those two pocket-sized materials for them to have some notes and to have those cards with ideas for activities with children, just to take with them and have something from this program. So it's depends on the situation. We don't know what to recommend, but it's always the best option to check with the parents and see what they are the most interesting with, because sometimes different groups of parents are interested in different topics. And if we are talking about mentoring or monitoring, we think that it's very important that moderators are empowered to monitor their work, because the self-evaluation is the most important. And we try to provide the regular contact with them and try to help them to solve issues. Sometimes you cannot solve problems because it's not, many issues we cannot solve. that's the problem.
Thank you, Milena. And we have another question in the chat box from Itzel. The question is, have you faced any challenges into getting the fathers involved in the activities? Or do you, when you work with parents, is it mostly with the mothers? What is the involvement of fathers in the program?
We already said in the previous question about that mothers wanted some time for themselves, and they didn't want fathers to involve as much. So that is our experience from now.
We also recommend if fathers, some families don't want to be together. I mean, men and women together on the same workshop there because of their cultural issues. And we think there is no need to develop special extra workshops for fathers, because mothers and fathers are equally parents, but it may be sometimes it's needed to organize separate groups for mothers and fathers for some topics, or for all topics, maybe to have separate groups, but we would like to have them together because the sharing and mutual learning is important, but it's also depending on the complete group. So we didn't talk about organizational and preparational issues. Some parts are described in manuals, in guidelines, but it's very important to know the possible, participants and families who are interested, and to check with them how to organize. And with each new family who is joining, to check how they see this. It's not easy because you cannot change everything if you make a plan about implementation, but we need to follow the needs of parents. That's the most important part, and give them this power, because they're powerless in almost everything in their life, so they need to have the power to say what they really need and how they would like to participate in our program. Any program.
Thank you, Milena. So if we don't have any further questions, we are also nearing the end of the presentation. It's almost 5:30 here in Belgrade, which is what we set for the end. We tried to keep it short because this is only the presentation where you got the chance to be introduced to the Parenting on the Move program. But if you wish, I shared in the chat box, you can read all of the materials. And then for all those who are working as professionals in the field and who would like to implement the program in their own context, we are more than happy to work with you, and to CIP would love to provide trainings like they're doing in Bosnia right now. And we would love to hear about how the program can be adapted to different contexts. So let me thank our colleagues from CIP for giving such a great presentation, and also to thank Child Hub for hosting us today, to thank the interpreters, especially for today, because it was a rather interesting exercise how to make things work on the Zoom platform, and I hope that there were no issues with that until the end. And on behalf of Save the Children and North West Balkans and the Balkans Migration and Displacement Hub, big thank you to all of the participants today who hopefully found the training presentation useful, and I hope that you enjoyed your time with us today. For any questions, you can reach out to us through email, but thank you very much, and we really hope to see you again soon on one of our presentations here on Child Hub. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
having
Goodbye.
us. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.